Hi everyone, Liam Bailey here from O'Brien Palmer, and today I wanted to talk to you a bit about bankruptcy. One of the questions that I get asked all the time by people who find themselves in the unfortunate situation where they might need to declare themselves bankruptcy is, how is bankruptcy really going to impact upon my life? What is it going to mean for me and for my family that I'm bankrupt? And today I wanted to explore a couple of the essential things that are going to happen once you are bankrupt, and hopefully alleviate some of your fears that this is going to be a massive imposition in your life. It's really important to note that a bankruptcy trustee is not here to punish you. That is not our job, that is not our role, and it's not what we do. The trustee's role is to administer your estate in line with all the laws and regulations about the estate administration. And those laws and regulations are basically designed to balance the interests of your creditors with your interests. The fact that you are a person who still needs to live, exist, support your family, and the manner that we administer your bankrupt estate needs to take account of those realities. You're not a company, you don't cease to exist. Once this happens, we need to make sure that you can look after yourself. So, the first and most central document to any bankruptcy is the bankruptcy form. Now, if you've had to put yourself into bankruptcy voluntarily, you will have completed a bankruptcy form. If you're made bankrupt by an order of the court, you have an obligation to complete a bankruptcy form and submit it to your trustee within 14 days. Bankruptcy form is effectively a glorified asset and liability income and expenditure statement. It is all of the financial circumstances and should contain all the financial information that we require about your financial circumstances to administer your estate. It will talk about your assets. It will talk about the people that you owe money to. It will talk about the interest that you have in companies or trusts, the people that owe you money. It will talk about your family situation. Everything that we need to know starts with the bankruptcy form. If you need assistance in completing the bankruptcy form, reach out to us and let us know. Okay? It is not a complicated form, but because it's quite long, it can look a lot more intimidating than it really is. And we're always available to help you complete that form. The more complete that form is, the less problems you're going to have, or the less time we're going to spend coming back to you and asking you more questions. Don't be afraid in completing that form. If the form's incomplete by genuine oversight or mistake, there isn't any consequences for that. The idea is that you're going to engage with us to the best of your capacity. The only thing that comes around fences in bankruptcy tends to be around the things like if you have deliberately sought to hide your assets or mislead a trustee, but as long as you're engaging with us in good faith, you're going to be fine. Once we're appointed, and to address one of the biggest misunderstandings about bankruptcy, is we don't freeze your bank accounts. You need your bank accounts to continue living and operating and looking after your families. That's not something that we do. We will, under an obligation to identify all bank accounts, and we're under an obligation to notify all financial institutions about the bankruptcy, but that bank account needs to remain open so that you can receive income into it, and then you can use that income to meet your living expenses and support your families. So we don't freeze bank accounts. Secondly, one of the issues that everyone asks about is vehicles or cars. Under the rules, if you are a bankrupt, you're entitled to retain a car that has value at the moment of up to about $9,600, or a net value of $9,600. What does that mean? If you've got a car that's worth $20,000 and it's got $15,000 worth of finance on it, then the net value of that car is $5,000. We're not going there. There's no benefit to creditors in getting involved. You maintain the finance, you keep your car. We're not coming to take your car off you. Once you're bankrupt, you have an obligation to keep us up to date about your income and employment situation. As a bankrupt, you are entitled to continue earning a wage and encouraged to do so. However, there is a threshold amount where if you earn more than that threshold, you're required to make contributions back to your estate. Now, that could seem particularly onerous until you understand that for the average person, the level at which you start paying income back is net of taxes is $72,000. If you have one dependent child that you're looking after, that amount raises to $86,000. $7,000 net of taxes. So for most people who are in financial difficulty, they're not going to find that their income is going to be of a sufficient level where they have to make income contributions. Next, there are some rules around things that you can't do whilst you're bankrupt. You cannot be the director of a company. It is not legal for you to obtain credit for more than $7,000 without disclosing that you're a bankrupt. Those restrictions are probably not particularly onerous for you, but they're things to be aware of. And possibly the last of the major issues that people misunderstand about bankruptcy, there is no inherent restriction on travel, or especially international travel. As a bankrupt, you are required to surrender your passport to your trustee. However, you can get permission to travel from your trustee as long as your trustee is satisfied that you're not a flight risk and that you're fully up to date with your obligations to provide and assist the trustee with their duties. As long as you've met those criteria, then your trustee has to give you permission to travel. That's pretty much it. The reality is, for most people, the impact on your life is minimal. As a private trustee, we have to do the same job as the official trustee. But our job is to help you navigate the realities of being bankrupt and minimize the impact on your life whilst ensuring that you comply with all of those obligations and duties. If you have any further questions about how bankruptcy is going to impact your life or what it will mean in your financial circumstances, please don't hesitate to get in contact with us. Set out in the link underneath here, you'll be able to find some links to material that's already been published on our website about how bankruptcy operates and different aspects of bankruptcy. And in particular, I'd like to draw your attention to the fact that there's a number of mental health resources that are listed out on our page. Bankruptcy is stressful, it is something that you want to avoid, but it's not the end of the world. And it should be that you look after your mental health and that of your family while going through these sorts of stressful circumstances. So please don't hesitate to review and reach out and take support that is available to you in these stressful times. Otherwise, don't hesitate to get in contact with us and we will help you through this difficult time. And before I go, I will pass on one piece of feedback that I've received from numerous people who have avoided going bankrupt and fought against it for a long time. After being bankrupt for 2 weeks, when the phone stopped calling, when people have stopped finally chasing you for money because they know that you are bankrupt, you realise that the impact on your life isn't what you thought it would be, that it is reached a point that it cannot get any worse, a line's been drawn in the sand, and you've started the rehabilitative process of turning your financial difficulties around. There's a great sense of relief and peace that comes from that, and many people have communicated to us that they don't know why they fought so hard against bankruptcy when it was inevitable, and they wish they'd started sooner. Because the sooner you start, the sooner you get your discharge and the sooner you can start your new life on the other side of bankruptcy. It's not the end of the world. Please don't hesitate to get in contact. Until next time, guys, thanks for watching. Yeah, so much smarter in my Clark Kent persona, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and today I wanted to talk to you about a bit